on Music Cap. My name is Naya with Green Eyes. Why don't you introduce yourself and let us know who we're having the pleasure of interviewing today?
I'm Buddy. Somebody's got some dogs.
Yep. They're my babies. They're in here playing around. Let them go.
I'm Buddy from Testarossa, rock and roll band out of Charlotte, North Carolina.
Hold on one second. I'm sorry, they get overexcited. It's Sunday. They're in here together.
That's all right. You can probably hear the roosters here at my house.
Say that one more time. I'm so sorry.
I said you can probably hear the roosters in the background here at my house.
Oh, I'm saying. It's Sunday and they're all excited. They're just like ippity wuppity. That's why I did it over here so they wouldn't be crossing over. But anyway, go ahead and introduce yourself again.
I'm Buddy Radford, drummer for rock band Testarossa out of Charlotte, North Carolina.
Yes. So tell us a little bit about your band. How did you get with them? How did it all get started?
So the band originally started out as a band name called Graceful Regret. We had some member changes back in 17 and decided to go a different direction with our style of music. And basically that's about where it went. We decided to go with music that we love to play and that kind of come natural to us. And it kind of come out kind of classic rocky. So.
Awesome. So when did you start? When did you get started with the band? When was your first like experience and getting with them? How many is it of you in the band?
I'm sorry. Say again.
How many is it of you in the band? Is it you're the drummer and then?
We have 4 members. It's me and 3 others.
Okay.
I'm actually an original member from Graceful Regret, and I said we had some member changes back in 2017. We started Graceful Regret in 2013, and we had some member changes in 2017, and that's when we kind of decided to go with the name Testarossa and kind of go with what we all love to play, what's kind of natural to us.
Awesome. And when did the band get started? Tell us a little bit, like how long ago did you guys get started, and where did you start? Was it all in the garage first thing, or did you start like at maybe an open, maybe a karaoke thing? Where did you guys first like have the band?
We Graceful Regret kind of started out in a building that I had at my parents' house.
Oh.
And we ended up losing a bass player, and we picked up Colton Bell off of Craigslist as a bass player, and he was our bass player at the time, and he had a huge band room over at his parents' house out on the farm. So we actually moved over to there, and then when we had the member change issue in 2017, Colton actually jumped on vocals, and so we pulled in Jordan West right before Graceful ended up splitting up and turned everything into Testarossa with a whole different style. So 2017 is about when Testarossa originated.
So how do you feel the band has came? How far have you guys come along from the first beginning of you guys practicing in that garage, and from now? How do you feel it's grown? How are you like about your fans?
The band has grown something that I couldn't have ever imagined it had grown into. We've had so many opportunities put in front of us as the band Testarossa. We've opened up for some of our favorite bands that we grew up listening to. We've met so many people that we're actually fans of. We actually got Danny Wood asking Alexandria on one of our tracks. It was actually our first release track that we put out called Mother Lover back in 2018.
Okay. So tell us a little bit that you guys what is the album that's out right now?
I'm sorry, you were breaking up. I missed that.
It sounds like it was chopping up. Tell us a little bit about the new album that's coming out.
So the name of the album is Late for the Party, and it's been about 2 or 3 years in the making. We really wanted to take our time and put out something that we were extremely proud of. Our comparison to this was like Guns N' Roses' Appetite for Destruction was just a game changer in the album. It really was, and that's what we wanted, something that you could listen to from beginning to end without having to skip a track. And I feel like we've succeeded in that.
Right. So you think this album is better than? Do you ever listen to your old songs and think that like, hey man, I can recreate that or make it better or whatever?
Oh, absolutely. We have a catalog of songs. We've got enough now to put out 3 albums. We just
Oh,
go ahead and put this out, and of course we're going back in the studio to record, the sequels to the album. But this album, to me, is one of my life's work, personally. That I feel like every aspect we hit on this album.
so what song of this album really speaks out to you? Like, which one of the songs out of this album that you just recreated that you're like, okay, this song is me. This on the album. What speaks
Um,
out?
I would have to say our newest track that we just put out is called "Knocking Outside Your Door." It's out on all platforms right now. I would have to say this song really, really speaks. Most of our stuff has kind of a tongue-in-cheek kind of feel to it, and we don't take ourselves seriously as people, but we do as a band. But this song, "Knocking Outside Your Door," there's so much meaning behind the song, and I don't know if you guys are familiar with the story behind the song, but our our bass player Blake, his brother was getting ready to leave his house one day, and he saw a guy walking, a younger guy, and it was pouring down the rain. He had a book bag on, and he never usually stopped to pick up strangers or anything like that. But he was younger and kind of naive. But he stopped and picked the stranger up, and he could tell the guy was having a really bad day. So he stopped and picked him up. The guy's drenched in water, and takes him by the store, gets him a cup of coffee, and they when he drops the guy off at work, the guy told him, he got out of the car and he showed him a gun, and he told him that he was actually going to kill himself that day at work. But because Blake's brother stopped and helped him and kind of showed him that the world isn't as bad as he thought it was, that he decided not to. So it's just an all around good song of a happy ending of basically not being a jerk to people can save somebody's life. You never know what somebody's going through.
It is amazing how the little things can strike up a song, a life experience. It is amazing how we're inspired by our music and where our lyrics actually come from. It is amazing. So you're saying that a couple of your songs you can actually put your life, your experiences into, because so you're saying I mean, we go through a lot in our life, especially being a music artist. It's not easy. You know what I'm saying? A lot of people look at us and they're like, oh my God, I want to be them. And you're like, well, it's not so much as peaches and cream and grabbing a guitar, grabbing a drummer and just making some beats. It's, you got to put a lot into it. What would you tell to those people who are thinking like that?
Something that I would tell those people is, one thing I will say is music personally has saved my life. As a kid, I stayed out of trouble. Never got in any trouble because of music. But me personally, that the song "Knocking Outside Your Door" is very special to me because I've personally always dealt with depression since I was a child, and what has saved me is music. What has kept me here is music. So we've actually decided every bit of the revenue coming from that track, whether it be downloads, anything like that, is actually going to be donated to the suicide prevention hotline.
Wow. Yes. Amazing. And it is. Music does save a lot of lives. And it saves a lot of teens from being out here doing drugs or whatever like that. I mean, they get into the music industry or whatever, and they're just so focused on making music and making rap songs that they don't, they're out of the streets. They don't do all that people are thinking into. But then they get into the artists and they become famous, and then you see them, turning back to that. So when you made these hits and music saved your life, how did you overcome the obstacles of peer pressure Tell us a little bit about what stopped you from being involved into these things of the music career. What follows it. What's so easy about getting put back into that lifestyle of doing bad things, drugs, maybe drinking, things like that. How do you cope with all that peer pressure and still bring out your music?
Well, it is crazy. I'm glad you said that. Of course, we all know it's kind of like people put rock and roll hand in hand with drinking and drugs and stuff like that. They really do. Even people to this day are like, oh, you play in a band, you must do this or this.
Yes.
Uh, what's crazy is I'm not a big drinker. I may have 5 beers a year. The rest of the band the same way. So I found good musicians that are focused on music and not a lifestyle, not a party lifestyle, which is great. Our job is to make others enjoy themselves, not us. Um, it's I've had anxiety pretty high tone since I was a child. So anxiety has actually been a curse and a blessing at the same time. So the anxiety has kept me away from the drugs and the drinking and stuff like that, of not wanting to put like a foreign something in my body, from the anxiety. So it's been a blessing plus, a curse at the same time. So, you don't have to go that path when you play music. If you're serious about music, put your nose to the grindstone with music, and you can make it look like you party, but in reality, it's business.
Right.
It is a business.
Right.
You have to stay professional and stay sober.
How do you, with what we're going on with the society now? I mean, you have the COVID that is still happening. You have the new presidency doing things. How are you coping with? I mean, has it stopped any of your music habits, or has the COVID-19 had an effect on your music career or anything like that?
Oh yes, of course. We had opportunity last year to do some tours, and me personally, I had an opportunity to go to the UK last year to do about 2 weeks worth of dates, and yeah, it put a halt to everything. And it wasn't just us struggling. So I know everybody in the business right
Yes.
now, down
Over
to
there.
your sound guys. I mean, it was just an absolute nightmare for everybody in the industry. But we pulled through. We really got into the studio. Did some side stuff. We really did a lot of the backside work that needed to be done that we hadn't taken the time out because of playing shows to take care of. So, all in all, it was a terrible year for everybody.
Right.
But we tried to take advantage of some downtime situations that we had.
So last question, with you guys being in a band, as large as you are with the four band, how do you guys cope with maybe, I'm not saying getting mad at each other, but seeing eye to eye on a lot of things. Maybe, you guys maybe don't, maybe get, he don't understand me, or maybe you want to come out with a song that they think that, hey, it's not right. How do you guys do that when you come together and be like, you know what, let's just do the darn thing or whatever? In other words, how are you guys getting along? How do you guys cope with getting along with each other?
I will tell you, this is the greatest group of guys I've ever had the privilege of playing music with. Like I said, sobriety in the band is a huge thing. So it keeps a lot of fussing and fighting, and I think that was a lot of the fussing and fighting in previous bands. Is like, okay, is this person going to come to practice? Is this person going to be here at this gig? As far as songwriting, Jordan, our guitar player, will come in with just a phenomenal riff. That this guy is just incredible, and he'll come to me and and he'll be like, hey, this is kind of an idea I had behind it, and then of course I'll put my own flavor behind it, and then Blake Webb, our bass player, he'll come in and just a smooth groove behind it, and then Colton just pulls lyrics like I don't know where he pulls them from, but the dude is phenomenal. Our singer Colton, and everything he writes, it just kind of hits the heart. We've never run into a situation as long as we've been together where there's a fight in the band where people are easy. It's like we honestly enjoy being around each other. It's family, and if somebody smarts off and makes something, we laugh at them, or a lot of junk talking gets us through stuff too. Nobody in the band takes anything to heart. There's a lot of junk talking goes. So you can't never really tell if somebody's serious or junk talking you, so it never really affects us, you know, to where we're hurt, you know, over something. So
how do you feel about your fans? I mean, how do do your fans play a big part in what you guys became or whatever like that? How do you feel about where they were and how your fans are now?
our fans are absolutely phenomenal. I could not ask for a better fan base than what we have. We've actually been hit up out of Ireland, uh, Northern Ireland. A gentleman, his son had cancer, and his name was Ozzy Rogers, and his son was such a fan of ours. He asked if we'd send stuff, you know, to him, and of course we did, and we
Oh, wow.
keep up with him and his family. And unfortunately, Ozzy passed away last year, and we still
Oh,
check on him. And we have some of the best fans. Some of the like they're out to help other people. Um, you know that, and that's what we want. We want people to enjoy themselves while they're at the shows. Our job is to make you have a good time. That's
yes.
100%. Forget about all the politics when you come to a show. Forget about who you voted for. Forget about who's in this and who's in that, because we don't care about any of that. Our job is to make sure you leave your TV behind when you get to a show, and you don't think about it until you get
Mm-hmm.
back.
You just have a good time.
Yeah,
Awesome. So tell
great
us,
fan.
where can the fans find you at? People looking at this show, where can they find your guys' music at, you at, if they wanted to get in touch with you, reach out to you?
Of course, you know we have our basics, the Facebook, the actually getting ready to say MySpace. Oh my God, I really want MySpace thing again. Um, but Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, they can find us at Testarossa Rocks. Anything under Testarossa Rocks is ours, and then of course, you know, on Spotify, Apple, all that. It's Testarossa, and the actual Late for the Party digital album will be out sometime in September. So if you want to get a physical copy, like a record or a CD or anything like that, inbox us, let us know. We'll ship it to you. But it will actually hit record stores in September, and physical. The digital copies will also be available in September as well, full album. But until then, check out what we've got released.
Great, awesome. I want to thank you for being on Music Cap. I want to thank you for your time and interviewing with me. I appreciate everything you said. You guys, phenomenal work. I can't thank you enough for being on the show.
Oh, thank you guys so much. We truly enjoyed it, and we appreciate you guys' help with getting our message out.
Yes, and you can find us on Music Cat. I'm on Facebook, Instagram, or whatever like that. So you can definitely look up our video, and then on KJAG, if you follow him, he'll post up videos or whatever like that. You're definitely welcome to share them. So yes, please do.
No MySpace page?
I know. It's funny you mentioned that because oh my God, MySpace was the bomb. Don't get it.
It was. I miss Tom.
You can put music to your profile and everything, man. It was the bomb back then, but now it's like, man.
Yeah. Facebook's kind of great.
But yes, thank you so much for being on the show. We appreciate it.
Thank you so much for having us.
You have been fantastic, buddy. Thanks for doing this, brother.
Absolutely. Thank you guys for having me.
Now,